Yeah, like any big animal, they can be dangerous, there's no doubt about that. If you corner a buffalo or if you come between a cow and her calf, they'll definitely defend it with a ferocity, you know, they can be quite aggressive.
With surprising agility for such a big brute, a hide almost 2 inches thick, and large flat feet roughly double the size of the hooves of cattle, this is one menacing animal to be observed from a distance.
If you push a bull or if you annoy him or if you get close to him, yeah, they'll chase you up a tree.
Matt Kelman lives and works alongside these imposing beasts at Carmore Plains, an outback property neighboring Kakadu National Park in Australia's top end. At over 1,000 acres, this property boasts a magnificent array of bird life, wild boar, the ever-present saltwater crocodile, and of course, water buffalo. The floodplains provide the perfect lifestyle for the water buffalo, but this isn't a place for the faint-hearted. This is an adventure.
Had numerous buffalo chase the motorbike. They hate motorbikes. I think it's probably the noise or something, just a bit different to a vehicle. They won't take much provocation to chase a quad bike.
Water buffalo were introduced to Australia in the 19th century. Just 80 animals were brought over from Indonesia to support remote northern communities. Almost 2 centuries later, there are well over 150,000 inhabiting the wetlands of the territory. Whilst they are destructive to the environment, they've made this land their home, adapting to all conditions.
They can run like a rocket, yeah, normally, but because they're out in that mud, that wet mud's that deep, it's just bottomless, and they've got huge feet that'll help them move through the mud. And then, you know, some of the buffalo we've seen in the airboat are up to a metre of water, so it's incredibly hard to walk through it, and a lot of it's all tangled in grass, so they kind of lunge through it, they jump through it. But yeah, on hard dry land, water buffalo's probably faster than Brahman, incredibly fast. Over a short distance, they're insanely quick.
Water buffaloes are quite long-living, with cows reaching roughly 25 to 30 years. For bulls, it's a little shorter, to around 20 years. The bulls are generally bigger all over, and their horns are a lot thicker. A big bull averages around 800 to 900 kilos, and a cow probably pushes up around 650 kilos. Clearly a massive animal, but despite its bulk, is capable of surprising anyone who is a little too close. As a rule, it is quite inquisitive. It'll want to know what you're up to.
But even wild buffalo are naturally curious, you know, they'll come over and check something out. Yeah, just can't help themselves. Yeah, but often, you know, you get a bull, if he's curious, he'll come over, have a look, and then he might get himself in a situation where then he's forced to attack something or someone.
These beasts will often snort or bellow before they charge. Plus, their body language is quite recognizable when irritated. Taking quite a majestic stance, they'll start to shark their head. Then a bull will typically drop his nose to show off his horns. If you see these signs beforehand, you can probably get yourself out of danger, but there isn't always a warning.
People that have been killed by buffalo, it's often the case where it's an unseen animal, it's a cow. You know, they might have been watching a bull that was appearing to be aggressive in a cow or come out of a herd, and whether it be fellows working in yards or whether it be out in the paddock. The cow might have a calf planted right where someone's working on a fence, and he doesn't even know that, and the cow will flatten them, you know. And if you're out in the bush by yourself working, if it's a bad injury, you're done for. A lot of guys that work with them, you know, with the export trade have been horned or gored. Yeah, a lot of people survive the injury if you know someone's there to help or chase the bull away. There has been a number of deaths over the years. Not something to be messed around with.
Defying the buffalo's dangerous persona is possibly Australia's best-known water buffalo, the much-loved Charlie, who co-starred with Paul Hogan in the hit movie Crocodile Dundee. Charlie gave up the glitz and glamour of his Hollywood career to retire at the Adelaide River Inn, about an hour south of Darwin, where he was still able to bask in the limelight.
He was very friendly. Guests could come along and ride him, so they used to go for walks around in his pen, and he used to be patted a lot by all the guests coming through. He used to hang out the front there and he used to greet tourists. They used to be able to pat him, ride him, feed him. His favourite thing to eat was carrot cake, so he was just an all-round star.
Charlie, his stage name, known as Nick before stardom, was found as a potty calf on the side of the road and rescued by a local who took him to the Darwin Zoo. It was during his time at the zoo that he was selected for Crocodile Dundee. Weighing in at 1,000 kilos with a horn width of 2.25 meters, he was an ideal choice to play the wild and ferocious buffalo.
Charlie was 30 years old when he passed away, which is quite old for a buffalo. He actually suffered with an illness towards the end. He had pneumonia, so he had to be put down. Otherwise, he'd probably still be living on. On carrot cake, yeah.
Even though Charlie was hand-reared and certainly well-tamed, he was still a young bull during the Crocodile Dundee movies and was pacified with medication whilst on set, just as a precaution. As with so many wild animals, predicting their behavior can put your own life at risk. Trust is a human trait. The expectation that animals will toe the line on this characteristic is not a given. Always be cautious.
I mean, a big animal, they deserve a certain amount of respect. They'll charge just unprovoked. There's no bluff, they will come right through. You just have to get out of the way if you can.